The Dragon That Couldn't Say No by Sylvain Zauzin. There was once a princess who lived at the top of a very tall tower. She lived with a dragon with claws as sharp as knives. Every day, a voice called from the tower, "Who will rescue me? Oh, how I wish someone would rescue me." From time to time, princes came to the gate of the castle and shouted,
"Princess, I will rescue you!"
Each time the princess came to the gate, opened it, and said, "Why don't you mind your own business? I'm fine here with my dragon. In fact, it's time for Luke to mop the floors and cook my meal. Go away." Then the princess slammed the door and went back up to the tower. Yes, it was Luke who called,
"Who will rescue me? Oh, how I wish someone would rescue me."
Princess Gladys was a real pest. She never stopped shouting orders at Luke. "Make the dinner! Wash the dishes! Sweep the floor! Mend my dresses!" The dragon always replied,
"Yes, Princess. Of course, Princess."
Luke didn't know how to say no, and he was really unhappy. Many years before, the princess was walking in the forest when she spotted a cradle. There were wild animals nearby about to attack it. The princess chased the beasts away with her umbrella. In the basket she saw Luke, an abandoned baby dragon. She took him back to her castle. From that day on, Gladys did nothing but give Luke orders. Luke would have liked to leave. Every day he stared at the mountains far away. He really wanted to go and live there. But the princess had saved his life, so he stayed with her and did everything she told him to do. One morning, Luke was woken by a voice shouting, "Help, Luke! Help me!" Luke ran to the castle walls. Someone was kidnapping the princess. It was the horrible limping knight. He laughed unkindly and said,
"Princess, you will be the perfect wife for me."
The knight limped over to his horse, threw Princess Gladys onto it, and rode off. The dragon shouted,
"I'm free! I don't have to do what I'm told anymore. I can fly far away from here at last. Oh, but what about the princess? I can't just let her be kidnapped."
Luke had a good heart. He decided he had to save Gladys. Flap, flap. Luke flew to the limping knight's castle. It was dark and dirty. In a small room, Luke saw the knight dressed in smart clothes. The princess was there too, locked in a cage. She was wearing a wedding dress. Luke hid behind a cupboard. The limping knight said,
"In 10 minutes we will be married, Princess. Then you will make my meals, wash the dishes, and darn my socks. I'm going to check if the wedding cake is ready. See you later, my love."
The knight skipped happily out of the room. Luke hurried over to the cage. The princess saw him and sighed. "Oh, I'm so unhappy."
"Gladys, you have to get out of there,"
said the dragon. Gladys sobbed. "I'm locked in. I'll never get out of this cage. I'll have to marry that horrible knight. My life is over." Luke said,
"You don't have to marry him. There must be a way out."
Luke blew flames on the lock, but it didn't melt. He tried to bend the bars, but he couldn't. "We must find the key," said the princess. "But where could it be?" Luke thought for a moment. Suddenly he shouted,
"Just now, when the limping knight left the room, he was skipping. He wasn't limping."
"That's a bit mysterious." "You're right," said the princess. Suddenly the dragon went out into the corridor. He spotted another door. It was the knight's bedroom. Inside, he saw the limping knight's armour standing in a corner. Luke looked in one of the shoes. Nothing. But in the other shoe he found a big heavy key. That was where the knight kept it. That was why he limped. The dragon went back to the princess.
Look what I found,
he said, showing her the key. Gladys jumped up and down for joy. Suddenly there was a noise in the corridor. The knight was coming back with guests and servants carrying the wedding cake and lots of soldiers. Luke quickly put the key in the lock. Click! The cage door opened.
Get on my back,
said Luke. The princess climbed onto the dragon's back and he flew out of the window.
Stop them!
Yelled the limping knight as he burst into the room. The knight and the soldiers fired arrows at the dragon. They even threw the cake. But Luke was too far away. The dragon and the princess were out of reach. Gladys untied her hair and burst out laughing. It's so good to feel the wind on my face, she said. Now let's go back to the castle. Luke said,
No! See those mountains over there? That's where I'm going to live.
I understand, said the princess, smiling. Luke put the princess down in the castle courtyard. Wait, said Gladys. One last thing. The princess gave Luke a big hug. The dragon hugged her back. Then he flew high up into the sky, all the way to the mountains. He was free. The end.
Spork, written by Kyle MacLear, illustrated by Isabelle Arsenault. Spork was neither spoon nor fork, but a bit of both. He had a mum and a dad who both thought he was perfect, just the way he was. But Spork stuck out. In his kitchen, forks were forks and spoons were spoons. Cutlery customs were followed closely. Mixing was uncommon. Naturally, there were rule breakers, knives who loved chopsticks, tongs who married forks. But such families were unusual. One day, after the billionth time he was asked, "What are you anyway?" and the zillionth time he was passed over when the table was being set, Spork sighed and thought, it must be easier to be a single thing, and he decided he'd try to pick just one thing to be. He thought he should start by fixing his head. He put on a bowler hat to look more spoonish, but the forks thought he was too round. Then he made a paper crown to look more forkish, but the spoons thought he was too pointy. Spork wondered if there were other lonely creatures out there with no matching kind, who never got chosen to be at the table. At dinner time, he watched from the drawer while the spoons played pea hockey and skillfully balanced boiled eggs. He sat off to the side while the forks raked fancy patterns in the mashed potatoes and twirled noodles around in complicated circles like rhythmic gymnasts. And at the end of this and every other meal, Spork looked on while the others enjoyed a super bubbly bath in the sink. Until one morning, a messy thing arrived. This messy thing had obviously never heard of cutlery customs or table manners. No, this messy thing smeared and spilled and flung and clumped and dripped without a care. Wait, said the forks, but the messy thing did not wait. Careful, said the spoons, but the messy thing was not careful. Help, said the forks, while the messy thing continued to slop and splatter. Quick, said the spoons. Now, a fork may be good for poking and picking, and a spoon may be fine for scooping and stirring. But this messy thing with its slurpy and clumpy, half-finished food bits needed something else. Something that could do all sorts of things at once. Something flexible and easy to hold. Something that was neither spoon nor fork, but a bit of both. That's when Spork landed. The messy thing saw Spork and immediately stopped and gurgled. It grabbed Spork and held him motionless in its fist. It tapped him once and let out a cheerful shriek. It wagged Spork excitedly up and down. And that's how Spork finally and happily found his way to the table. Just a bit round, just a bit pointy, just right.